How many Christmases ago was it you came over to my house?
It's been about 5 years now, I think. Maybe no, it was even
I
no
better know about
before
like 10
that.
years.
Yeah, 10. It's
Yes.
been a long time.
Yeah.
Like Tessa wasn't even international at that
No,
point when we
no,
did that.
no,
That
no.
was still a fun Christmas. I still talk. Oh, we're live. We're reminiscing about the time I was fortunate and blessed enough to eat Christmas dinner with this gentleman to my right. It was one of the best Christmas dinners I've ever had. But welcome to VGT. You guys know who he is, but I'll allow himself to all of you out there in internet land that might not know who this gentleman is.
Well, there was a day and a time when I was the boss of professional wrestling, better known as Magnum TA, U.S. heavyweight champion, and had a lot of fun back in the 80s. And, well, it was just the 80s, to be quite blunt. That was the only time I had any fun in the ring before I had that unlikely moment with the telephone pole.
Yeah. But you still have fun in life. Your life is still
yeah.
very much fun.
Yes, very much.
Beautiful wife, wonderful kids.
Yeah, no, I mean, no complaints. Yeah, the kids have been the biggest adventure of a lifetime, which is still just unfolding every day, every moment. And, I wake up every day just excited to see what's going to come about.
And one of them is a future Hall of Famer. I'm going to call that right now. And then the other one just got named prom queen. Amazing. Like,
It is there's some good genes floating around there somewhere. I know I had a little something to do with part of it, but all the looks they got from my wife. So, but yeah, the kids are absolutely what make me get up and stay fully engaged in the game of life every day.
yes, absolutely. And of course, the lovely wife, she was just here a little bit earlier to say what's up. So it's always great to see her as well. The last time you were here, we discussed infamous mustaches throughout history because you have one of the greatest mustaches of all time. You had a great career. You're a great human being. But come on, it takes a real great person to rock a good mustache. I firmly believe that.
It must be a will, a thing you kind of will, because I remember being young teenager, and thinking, that it was very macho to have a big, thick, bushy mustache, and
Yes.
you really don't have a whole lot you can do about that. You're either going to be able to grow one, or you're not. And we've seen a lot of pretty wimpy attempts by some people, not in present company at all, but I mean over the years. So there is a wide variety of facial hair approaches people have had over the years, and I was proud to represent the stash.
Yes, sir. And we're actually going to do a follow-up to this. Now, last time we just did infamous mustaches throughout history. This time, we are going to go a little bit closer to one of your favorite wheelhouses. I'm talking about racing. There's been some great mustaches in racing, so I'm going to show you a picture. You can talk about the stash, the driver, all of it. The first one, I'll hold this up to the camera so they can see it. The one and only Dale Jarrett.
Dale Jarrett, a fan favorite, one of my favorites. I bought a lot of trucks from his dealerships back in the day when he had his Ford dealership.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and again, that you couldn't be a man's man without rocking the stash. Back, started in the '70s and just kept right on rolling.
Yes, sir. And now Bleacher Report actually did a ranking of the best mustaches in NASCAR history. That's where I got some of these infamous mustaches from. This next one, Davey Allison.
And love Davey. Ran into Davey coming back from Atlanta one night from our travels around the world, and he was a fan, and we of course loved all things automotive. He's a race car driver, but yeah, he knew how to rock it. He was doing it good.
Yes, sir. The next one of my all-time favorite drivers, Jeff Gordon.
My mom's 100% favorite driver of all time. If she could have adopted another son, it would have been him. And I know that Now, she probably liked him better without the mustache, to be quite frank with you. But I think he represented it well.
But that was a young Jeff Gordon. He had it when he was young, and then he got rid of it.
Yeah, well, he was probably smart because he was probably more marketable without it.
We got a couple of more here. Mr. Terry Labonte.
Again, another one of the classic on the circle track. Huge back in the day. My dad took me to all those events when I was young, and I really enjoyed seeing those guys. Those guys out there around the track. It was just another form of combat, but you were just doing it at 200 miles an hour.
I've never looked at it that way. This next gentleman, ESPN did a fabulous documentary on his life. One of my favorite 30 for 30s. The late, great Tim Richmond.
And Tim came along right after kind of my demise in wrestling. And I had the opportunity to drive a NASCAR, Betty Parsons' car, matter of fact, at Charlotte Motor Speedway. And I was looking to go down that path before he was ever even in the game.
Oh, wow. I mean, I think it would have been great to see you guys go against each other.
The rest of that story, yep.
Yeah. Now, they ranked number 1 and number 2. I think you can guess who number 1 and number 2 are. Who do you think's number 2?
The King.
The King? You were very, very close. Number 2 is the Intimidator himself, Dale Earnhardt.
Well, he was my dad's favorite. He was my favorite. And he was the Intimidator. On the track, on the interview, he could come off Stone Cold before Stone Cold.
True that. You actually told us a story before we went on air about you met Dale Earnhardt Jr. recently, right?
Well, no, I met some guys from his crew.
Okay,
But I had seen him on his podcast. He had Cody on it.
Yes.
And they were talking about their famous dads, and both of them, of course, have lost their dads and their influence on their lives, their careers, their path. So I thought it was very cool, and then I saw in an interview that he was a fan of Dusty's and mine back in the day when he was young growing up. So I sent him a challenge coin through his crew.
Nice.
Kind of, give him a little nudge that I was a fan of his too.
Absolutely. Hopefully we see him more around the Charlotte metro area. And, of course, number 1.
There you go.
You called it earlier. The King, Mr. Richard Petty.
Absolutely.
Got a great stash, though. He really was a great driver, great stash. Great manly man right there.
And still to this day, I mean, I have friends that work with the Petty Garage doing things, back and forth with that company. And I mean, he's still out riding motorcycles, still, doing his thing. And, I still wouldn't want to play bumper tag with him on Interstate 85 either, because I think he might just push you out of the way if you rubbed him wrong a little bit.
Wow. True that. True story. Mr. TA, Mr. Magnum TA, are there any charities, social issues, or causes you think the fans at home should learn a little bit more about?
I think everything in life today is a social issue. I think we have a whole society full of folks that are kind of pushed by the wayside. I'm talking about people with suffering from different mental disorders and whatnot. I try to constantly make my kids aware that people they see wandering around and don't look like they've got a place to lay their head at night and just don't seem to be able to find their way in life, are people that have slipped through the cracks. There's a lot. This world is full of folks that society doesn't know what to do with, and it's a travesty that we can, as a country, figure out how to embrace and do these things for people, thousands and thousands of miles away in other countries where we've got, they've got real life crises going on, but we have a lot of real life crises going on right here today, and I'd like to see those things come under the microscope a little bit more, and more education, so people would have more compassion and more understanding that it's a real issue, and medical science doesn't know how to cure a lot of these things. There's not money out there. There's not insurance allocated for those types of things, and if there's nothing to pay the bill, people will lose interest real quick.
Yes, sir.
In how to help people out in those situations. But the world is full of them, and we're seeing more and more every day. And it's not because they're lazy. It's not because they don't want to work. It's because something's just not quite right. And their time and through this life is that isn't what they were envisioning when they were little kids and they had dreams of their own too.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. I could not agree with you more. On a more positive note, what is Magnum TA's perfect day? You just got a day to do whatever the hell you want to do. What's your perfect day?
That is so sad, but these days, because I get up at 5:30 in the morning.
Oh, wow.
To get the kids to and from and ready for their day, my days start really, really early. So to me, like a perfect day, I need two in a row. I need one to sleep in where I don't know how to get up at 5:30,
Okay.
and then rest up from that. And then my perfect day would be out in the mud somewhere, out in the woods, out in the middle of nowhere, four-wheeling with my crew. That is my it's replaced all the things I used to do with motorcycles and fast cars and all things back in the day. Off-roading and particularly mudding is something that I enjoy more than I probably ought to.
Absolutely. Now, normally I ask my guests, where is their favorite place in the world to get a bite to eat? But fun little inside baseball talk here. Myself, you, and Michael live within 3 miles of each other. We are all in the same area of town. So, in your opinion, where in Charlotte or do you believe is the best place to get a bite to eat?
I haven't been out in a restaurant environment since so far beyond the pandemic. I can't even remember.
Oh, wow. So you're a takeout person?
I am a whatever is in my bubble that is brought to me by somebody in my tribe. That's what I eat. And there is nothing about me that wants to get out in some loud, noisy, atmosphere and and just go through that experience because frankly, I cram more of that into the first 27 years of my life than most people do in a lifetime.
Very true.
So I've kind of like checked all those boxes, and I've become much more simplistic at 65 years old. So yeah, I can a burger or a steak off the grill in my own house with the gang. I'm good.
All right. Perfect answer. Please shout out everyone you want to shout out. Social medias, where they can find you for upcoming appearances. Anything you just want to shout out into the universe out here.
Well, my little side gig is this thing called Power Town. And I've been involved and heavily invested from a time perspective and everything else with this company for a little over 3 years now. And we have got some amazing things coming down the pipeline that are going to transcend wrestling. They're going to be in other genres.
Ooh.
And things that I'm not at liberty to say as of yet because there's things in NDAs and things involved with projects. But we have some very unique things we're branching out, and the company will be much more multi-dimensional than just the wrestling collector business.
Can you whisper a hint to just me and nobody else?
Not on camera.
I'm going to act like he's told me the greatest secret in the world, but he really said not on camera because this man is a man of his word. Sir, it is always great to see you. I look forward to the next time you are here with us again. And guys, we will be back. What? Powertown's website. What's Powertown's website? www.powertown.com.
PowertownWrestling.com.
PowertownWrestling.com. And of course, he has social media, if I remember correctly, Magnum TA on social media. So just look him up there to find out all upcoming appearances. But guys, we will be back in just a minute with more VGT.